and I'm going to not do the things that I dream of doing with my life. And hell fucking no, is that going to be the route I'm taking, let me tell you, motherfuckers. Because if this life is going to be as long as I imagine it to be, I want to be living a good life, a happy life. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Tess Sullivan Show. It's feeling echoey today. I don't know if it's just because I'm here all by lonesome. All by my lonesome. Me. Hopefully I'll be enough for you. I had intended guests. As things go, it didn't go according to plan. And so I woke up this morning, I was having my tea, and I was watching Melissa Villaseñor's little podcast video that she released, I don't know, yesterday. And it gave me inspiration, and I was just like, well, fuck it. If I don't have a guest for my podcast, I must go it alone. She will create her own podcast. I sort of always had intended that, it was always an option that my podcast could have just been my own anyway. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how you guys like it or don't. And then, we might start to do more of this story time with Tizzy, finding out more of who I am and what makes me me, and maybe what makes you like me or not like me, because that's an option too. Not everyone is meant for everyone, but I hope you like me. They love me. They really love me. So, I figured that we would sit down today and we would have some story time, and I would tell you a little bit more about who I am, things that make me me, things that have happened to me in my life, just a general story time. Let me start out by saying, I originally was going to wear my robe, otherwise known as my Roby Kenya. That's the name I gave my robe. It's of course, yes, a play on Nairobi, Kenya. Not much of a play, just my Roby Kenya. I think you get it. And I was going to wear my robe because I thought it was authentic and true to who I am. Being that if you come to my house at any given time, other than the middle of the hot summer, I will be wearing my fuzzy blue robe, and I don't often get out of my fuzzy blue robe once I'm into it. My brother always makes fun of me, and he's like, you could put on something that says the possibilities are endless. When I see you in that robe, it's clear that all possibilities have ended. Nothing's happening. You're going nowhere. But it's comfortable, and I enjoy it, and it keeps me warm. And there are a few things I love more than comfort and warmth. Truly, I love to be warm and comfortable. But I started off with the robe, and it really wasn't going well, guys. It was I just looked like this huge blue blob, which I guess probably I always do. I'm realizing now why he says I should probably not wear the robe all the time. Anyways, it wasn't working out. So I've come to you in this black t-shirt instead. I'm currently covering up. I thought about wearing short sleeves, but I have a huge bruise because my no, this is not funny. It's not funny to make jokes about people beating you because people are in unfortunate circumstances like that. No one beat me. I bought a new bike off Craigslist the other day because you guys know it's the COVID, it's the quarantine still. I mean, we're expanding slightly, here, there, and everywhere, and opening our circles just so. But that said, it is still quarantine. So I heard that bikes were selling like hotcakes, and I thought, fuck, I need a new bike. I better get one before they're all sold out. And I went on Craigslist last weekend and real quick locked myself down a $60 Huffy. It's sick, you guys. It's really sick. I wish I had a picture of it to show you. Maybe I'll insert one on the podcast screen here. But I got a sick new bike from a guy named Jerry on Craigslist who said I had a great personality. So we have that. I should have told him I have a fucking podcast. I'd have a listener. I'd have one fan already if I just told Jerry. Anyways, I digress. So I went to Jerry's house because he had a pink and black hot little Huffy. And I asked him over the phone. I said, listen, can you tell me about the frame size of this bike? Because I've had bikes before that did not fit me properly, and like that I was teetering and tiptoeing and falling side to side. I have one memory specifically, two really. One of my Aunt Michaela sending me her bike, which was such a beautiful, wonderful gift when I graduated college. She's like, you need to have a good bike. And she's a woman who does triathlons and things. So she had a really nice bike, and she thought it would be nice of her to get it all packaged properly, tuned up, blah, 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 like professionally packaged by a bike company and sent to me. And that was the first time I realized that a bike is not the same. A bike does not, what is that? Like, it's not the bike of the traveling pants, the sister of the traveling pants bike. Like, not everyone can fit on the same bike. Like, not everyone can wear the same jeans. She is a woman who's probably, I don't know, I'm going to take a liberty and say 5'8". I am a woman of 5'2". And so anytime I would get on the bike, I would have to use the staircase in front of our house to like prop myself up on the stair and then jump on it. And once I got going, I couldn't stop. Like I couldn't put my feet down to stop. So I would have to just like kind of ride to wherever I was going and then fall off the bike. And then usually I would then leave the bike wherever and make someone give me a ride home. I remember my friend's Meg's dad always being like, Tessa's bike's here again. It's like, yeah, well, she couldn't get back on it. So we need to drop it off at her house. And then I have a memory of my best friend Sam's dad seeing me one time. And he was like, Tess drove by today. She came by on her bike, didn't even stop. I'm like, did you tell your dad I can't stop? I can't physically stop the bike or else I can't get back on the bike. So there was that. And then there was a time when I lived in California and I borrowed one of my male roommate's bikes. Same scenario. Have I talked about this in a podcast before? I biked 14 miles to get my eyebrows threaded, down the Pacific Coast Highway in Redondo, from Redondo to wherever I rode to. And, yeah, that's like some near death shit when you're on a bike on a semi highway and you can't even touch your feet to the ground if you needed to stop. Kind of danger zone. I wouldn't recommend it. What ended up happening was like I would have to pull up to like a light pole or like a telephone pole and like prop myself and then get my foot on there real good so that I was kind of stabilized. Yeah, it was a danger zone. It was a danger zone. So needless to say, when purchasing this bike this week before I went to the man's house, I was like, can you sort of give me a gauge of whether or not you think it will fit a woman who's 5'2"? He said, I'll lower the seat for you. My wife's 5'4". It fit her. Let's go for it. I went. It's a kick-ass bike, you guys. Bought it for $60. Excuse me. The body of it's mostly black, has a few pink accents, but then it's like a road bike. So it has those really cool, like wraparound handlebars. Those are all pink. My seat's pink. My wheels are pink. Yeah, it's pretty sick. That said, I think the tires are from like 1970 and they're like crumbling each time the wheel goes round. So I will need to replace those, but I'm hoping that if I can't find pink ones, I can spray paint them. All this to say, excuse me while I get ahead of myself here. All this to say that I got the bike, cleaned up the bike, took it for a ride down to a park by us, decided that like my vagina was hurting too bad because this is what perpetually happens with a bike. And I don't know why I always insist on riding one because my vag bone will hurt for a week after. And so my vag bone was feeling sore. And I said, well, let me take a little break here. Laid down under a tree, propped my bike up with the kickstand. And, yeah, after a few minutes of enjoying the lovely day under the tree, the bike proceeded to fall on top of me and my arm, and I have a gnarly bruise on my left arm right now, that people probably wouldn't believe the bike fell on me. So rather than show it to you, I figured I would control it with my long sleeve shirt. However, I also keep having this feeling where I want to like jump up and prop myself up on the chair like a child. Like I feel like I always do that. And I don't really have pants on. So I'm going to try to remember not to prop myself up. Not that you guys would see the vagine. I have tiny, I guess they call them shorts, but they're not bigger than underwear. So, ooh, if there's any men watching, I have a feeling they'll stay tuned just to see. I better talk for a long time to really get those like YouTube longevity, podcast longevity flowing. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, fucking Christ. I mean, what am I even doing here? Is anyone still listening? Hello? I can't tell. I can't even tell if you're getting good audio from me right now or if you're actually just hearing my neighbor who's weed whacking outside. I probably should have closed the window prior to recording this, but alas, this is life, my friends. We will practice this much like a meditation where you are immersed in your surroundings. They are not your distractions. However, you are able to maintain your meditative state, even through all of the outer chaos that may be occurring in your life. We will practice this together, my friends. So as I stated earlier, I was inspired by Melissa Villaseñor this morning, and I thought, fuck it, I too can have my own podcast by myself, for myself. And then perhaps when there are real people that I desire to interview and learn from and speak to, then we'll have people on. So we'll see. Or, this could go terribly shitty, and every episode from here forth will be me interviewing someone so that I don't flounder all by myself here. But let's see. I figured that we might start by talking a little bit more about me. So obviously I am Tess Sullivan. I grew up in Massachusetts. I've got actually a pretty crazy story of my upbringing, I guess you'd say. It was by no means a typical upbringing. My brothers and I, when my older brother was 9 and I was 6 and my little brother was 2, we were finally taken in by my aunt and my uncle, who had 2 children of their own, who ended up raising us because my parents were drug addicts and alcoholics and couldn't do it any longer. It was sort of, I guess, like that for even a lot of my childhood leading up to when it was actually on my 6th birthday that we ended up getting taken in by my aunt and my uncle. But we spent a lot of time with them over the years while my parents kind of messed up and then tried to get sober and then messed up again and tried to get sober. And then, of course, officially when I was 6, we got taken in. So I was predominantly raised by my aunt and my uncle, in the house with my 2 cousins. And then by junior high, my older cousin had her child, Kira, who you guys met in the episode last week. And so I grew up essentially in a bedroom with my cousin Kia and her baby. And yeah, we grew up in a really nice town. We were lucky to grow up in a nice town. But that also made things hard and complicated because, I don't know, just when you're a kid, it seems that everyone else's life is perfect and yours is the only one that isn't. I remember thinking when I was a kid too that drugs were only a part of my life, and I sort of knew about them earlier than one probably should because of our circumstance and what we were going through. But I remember when I was a kid thinking that I couldn't wait to grow up and have a life outside of drugs and not know people who were on drugs. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that drugs are actually affecting so many people that we love and care about, and that by far and away, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. This just in, nobody's perfect. Even if you think they're perfect, they're not perfect. We are all dealing with our own issues and our own insecurities and things. And I'm glad to be here doing this by myself, because I think it's a bridge that I needed to cross. I think that I can talk for an extended period of time, actually about quite interesting things. It's just about like doing it and like breaking that fear and surpassing it and winding up with something hopefully beautiful on the other side. But you have to be daring enough to start that. And so here I am. So yeah, let's see. What else can I say about, oh God, there's so many tales from my childhood. I just had this flashing of, so on the weekends we would see, when I was younger, mostly just my mom, and then my dad at some point, maybe in junior high. I'm not sure exactly when he was like clean and well and back in our lives. I can't really remember the time frames. But so we would see my parents on the weekends, which didn't really allow me to have a normal life, per se. Like in junior high school, just when people were starting to become friendly with other people and start cliques and, you know, the cool kids and this and that, I was a cheerleader. So I had this, I think other people thought I was cool or popular, but of course I always felt like an outsider, just because I never wanted people to know the real me. I always felt like I had to keep them like at an arm's length. And if they knew that I was raised by my aunt and my uncle, that they would think I was weird or that I was different or I wasn't the same as them. And yeah, I remember it being tough because when people started to forge friendships in junior high, I couldn't really hang out, even if I was invited somewhere, because on Saturday I knew I was going to my mom's, and on Sunday I knew that I was going out with my dad. But still I didn't open up to people and tell them that. And one of my best friends, Jill, who I'm still very good friends with to this day, she definitely received not the brunt of it, but an unfortunate side effect of my insecurities. I remember she was just simply trying to be my friend. But in 7th grade, I want to say, she called my house, which of course was my aunt and uncle's house. She called my house to ask me to play or hang out or come over. And when we got to school on Monday, she goes, Tess, I called your house, but I don't know, they said you were at your mom's. And I was so afraid of her outing me to everybody, and like the fear that came along with that. I was just like, oh no, this girl is trying to discover my true self. And like, then my whole plan will be foiled and everyone will think I'm a weird or stranger. I'm not like them. And I feel like the only thing in junior high is like, you just want to fit in. You just want to be the same as everyone, tragically. But it is the curse that is childhood. Just like fit in, get by. So instead of opening up to her, I just like shunned her and I shut her out. And then I ended up befriending this other girl in school who was like kind of mean and was always mean to Jill, because I thought, well, this will be easier to be mean to Jill than Jill try to be my friend and have her out me to everybody, which was a terrible way to deal with it. But of course I was 11, 12 years old and I didn't know how to deal with it. And that resulted in Jill's mom never liking me, understandably, and never wanting me to come over. When Jill and I finally moved past that, I remember constantly her always being like, yeah, my mom doesn't really like you. She doesn't want you to come over. And I'm like, well, I can understand why, because I was mean to you, but it was only my tool for protecting myself, which I think that we probably do in adulthood with lots of things as well. And I look forward to the point that I have health insurance and I can get therapy and deal with issues and shit from my childhood that I don't even really remember, quite honestly. I think that I went through a lot of traumatic things that sort of allowed me or enabled me to like shut down a lot of my childhood experiences. I don't remember a lot of my childhood. That said, I was lucky. I know that I was lucky to have my aunt and my uncle who did all that they could, despite their circumstances, because they didn't have money. They weren't people of means either, but they knew that it was better to keep my brothers and I together, than to have us separated or in foster care. And so they did what they could. And I am thankful for that. And I grew up on a kick-ass street. I still have many of my childhood friends from that street to this day. My best friend, Rachel, who will be on the podcast at some point. My best friend, Emily, who will also be on the podcast. Her grandmother, Virginia, was basically, a grandmother to me my whole entire life. And so I was very fortunate, but definitely went through some shit. Something else I never told anybody for years, and actually Savannah, my first guest, my best friend from college, she was the first person I openly, spoke about the fact that my parents had AIDS and had died of AIDS. And that was my reason being for really wanting to go to South Africa and to experience Africa, where sort of AIDS came from, or they talk about where it came from. And I remember Hanson, my favorite band. We've gotten into that a little bit. We'll get into it more. They were the first people who actually made me feel a little bit more comfortable about speaking of AIDS and HIV. Because it does have such a stigma surrounding it. And I remember, my mom passed away when I was 15, so the beginning of my sophomore year in high school. My dad passed away the beginning of my sophomore year in college when I was 19. And for all that time and time after that, I never actually told people how they truly died. I would sort of just skim over it or like make up a little something or say that I didn't really know, because the truth is they both, of course, died of complications because of AIDS, because when you have HIV and AIDS, your immune system is compromised and therefore anything could take you out. Much like now, if you have a respiratory illness, coronavirus could easily take you out, more so than somebody who is well and healthy. And so both of them did die through complications because you don't have an immune system and you don't have your white blood cells, I believe, to fight back. And so anyways, I never told anyone about that. When my mom died, I just sort of either let them think what they thought. Maybe people thought it was cancer. And I always, I felt like there was a lot less stigma. Anyone in high school whose parents I know who had died, it always seemed easier and people felt bad if they had cancer. Whereas I felt if they knew that my parents died of AIDS or my mother died of AIDS, that there would be some sort of a, ooh, stay away from her. Does she have AIDS? So it took me a really long time to tell anyone about that. And then the first time I did was when I wrote my essay for Semester at Sea, speaking about how Hanson had allowed me to open up about this, about my parents having AIDS, because they went to, when I was in college, they went and did relief work in Africa, and on their tour that year, they donated money to not only vaccinations and things to help stop the transmittance from mothers to their children with HIV, but clean running water and food and supplies and medical necessities to these communities in Botswana and South Africa that were hurting. And they sort of destigmatized a lot of it for me and made me realize that I shouldn't be embarrassed of it. And it is something that until we talk about it and until people decide to open up and communicate about it, then it's always going to be something that is stigmatized and that's seen as dirty, and it isn't going to help people become healthy or know anything about it or avoid contracting it if we don't speak about it. So yeah, that's some shit. That's some motherfucking shit. But yeah, in terms of going along those lines, despite everything that I've ever been through and endured, honestly, I've always felt that I would not want to be anyone but myself. I'm thankful for all that I've been given. I think that what I've been through has made me the person that I am. I am resilient. I have an ability to laugh at things. I've always just appreciated who I am and where I come from. And I think despite all the bad shit, I've got like really good fucking genes. I mean, 7 genes, true religion. No, I mean like, look at these fucking genes, hon. My grandmother was a Vogue model. Okay, sweetie, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. It's all good. It's all fucking good. No, it's not all good either. It's just fucking balance. And I have always known that I wanted to be an entertainer. The funny thing is actually, my fear always was that I would get, like when I was young and I must have been in college that I thought I'd blow up and get famous at some point. My fear was never that I wouldn't make it in Hollywood. It was always that I would get too famous and then I wouldn't be able to live a normal life and like walk to the park and lay under a tree because like everyone would know me, and how could I just like go to the grocery store or hang out, at a cafe and live a normal life. And my brother would always laugh at me because he's like, girl, you got a skewed sense of reality. Despite that, I know that he very much believes in me and always has. He gave me a gift sometime around when I was in college too, this plaque of a picture of, I always forget who's the mother and who's the daughter. Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli. I think Judy Garland's the mom and Liza Minnelli's the daughter, right? Anyways, he posted this photo of them. And it had a little blip about the night on stage where you watched sort of the passing of the torch from Judy Garland to Liza Minnelli, her daughter. And he basically just wrote to me one time and said to me, like, this is the passing of the torch. Like, girl, go and shine your light. You're a born star. You were meant to be. And so I'm finally trying to shine that light. Oftentimes I look back and I think, oh, I should have never gone to college. I should have just like moved straight out to California to try to become an actress. But I had a great time in college and I loved college and I don't regret it whatsoever. I did move to California after college. I had a lot of fun out there for a short period of time. And then I missed my family and friends and decided to come back to the East Coast. And I beat myself up about that for a really long time because I don't know. I thought honestly from the age of like 24 that I was expired. Like I was like, well, that's it. I had my chance. I didn't do it. And I am just here to fucking fight that stigmatism. Like, fuck that shit. You could be anything at any goddamn age. If it's an actress you want to be, there are stories to be told and portrayed at every fucking age. No matter what it is that you want to become, you can do it. And luckily for me, we're in an age where podcasting is a thing, YouTubing is a thing. You don't necessarily need to take the same route to fame. And not that fame is what it's all about, but storytelling and sharing your story and sharing your personality with people. There are so many ways to do that now. It doesn't have to be necessarily on a talk show or whatever. Though my aspiration, since 2004, when I graduated high school, went to college, and Facebook was created, my About Me section to this day has never been updated since 2004 when I wrote it. And the About Me on my Facebook says, I can't decide whether I'd rather be the next Conan O'Brien or a castmate of SNL. Stay tuned. Well, hopefully you're still fucking staying tuned, guys, because we're making it fucking happen. One of these days. Yeah, SNL is still a dream of mine. As you guys have heard, I do many different ridiculous voices and things, and I'm working on impressions, so, stay tuned. Who knows?
We've got a few different things in the works here, people.
But yeah, so I am finding my way as an entertainer and an artist and a creator. And I encourage you to do the same because you're fucking worth it. Period. Bitch. Let's see what else I want to kind of talk about today. Gosh. So many things. Let's see. As far as quarantine, what have been like my favorite and best things to come out of quarantine? Let me tell you guys, first and foremost, Ryan Heffington. Is anyone else dancing with Ryan Heffington? Well, okay, I know that people are because when I dance, there's regularly 3,500, 4,500 people dancing along with us. If you're not yet, I suggest you do yourself the favor. He is fucking incredible. Excuse me again. He is a dancer who owns a dance studio out of LA. And he choreographed all of many of Sia's, cool, abstract, fun, cool dance videos, has worked with a bunch of other people, and he's hosting these dance parties live. His schedule has shifted a bit. Before it was like almost every day. Now I think he's doing maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it is extraordinary. You dance for an hour. He's had a few different celebrities on there with him. Emma Stone, a couple other people who he loves and admire, and they love and admire him. And it's just so freeing. I constantly find that I'll have written in my journal, like, dance more, dance, move your body. You love to dance. And my God, you dance with this man, and before you're 20 minutes in, your body's just on a fucking natural high, and it is the best feeling in the whole world. And you get to use props and become like your most diva self, and you get to like Pretty Pony around the room and Nancy Pelosi clap and Baby Diaper and grapevine your fucking face off. And it's definitely one of the best things that's happened to me during quarantine. And if I could throw a little shade, actually, let me just a little tree coverage. I remember one day, a few weeks, at least over a month ago, when, not when quarantine had just started, we were maybe midway through. And briefly I saw a clip of Reese Witherspoon talking on a live with J-Lo, and Reese Witherspoon tried to take her moment to like give props to Ryan Heffington, and it was clear that J-Lo didn't know who he was, so she just sort of like brushed over it, and I was all like, no, fucking no, this is his moment to shine and let the world know about him. And I wished that she had just like probed Reese for like a bit more information, like, who is this dancing queen you're talking about? I mean, I will talk about him on my podcast, but I'm not sure it's going to bring as many followers to his cause as it would have with Reese. So here's my chance. Here's my bit. Here's my attempt, Ryan. We fucking love you, and everyone should be dancing with you on the daily. So he's been fucking amazing. He's been shining a light in my life. Another person I only was introduced to, if you will, accidentally by YouTube a couple months back, and who has thrilled me and taken my life by storm and inspired me in countless ways, is drumroll, motherfucking Jeffree Star, bitch. Hi, how are ya? Welcome back to my channel. How high are ya? Fucking bitch. Bitch, I'm shook. Okay. Deceased, cremated. Honey. Okay, honey. He's fucking fabulous. If you don't know who he is, you're welcome. Go put yourself onto him. I came upon him one day. YouTube rolled me in. I did not know who he was. He was this fucking fierce ass, fabulous motherfucker with like I think his wig was half pink that day. It rolled me into this half pink fucking fabulous queen, tatted up, bougie nails, wigged up, and a clip that said like, welcome to my $15 million mansion or whatever. And I was like, who the fuck is this with your $15 million mansion? And the reason I stayed and didn't click off of it, not knowing who this person was because right away I could just tell that he was real, authentic, a real person whose energy I could feel and sense. And right away, he was sort of opened it up with like, guys, whoa, we're about to go on this tour of my $16 million home, but let me not first take a minute to get real with you about where I have come from. And then went on to tell the story of basically, you know, food stamps to black cards, which I'm striving for. But yeah, he talked about having $500 in his bank account, however many years ago, not being able to pay his taxes, living homeless. And I sat watching this man show me the tour of his $16 million mansion and what he has built for himself. And it just empowered me so much. And not that money and materialistic things are everything, because they are not. And they are not going to bring you happiness if you don't have it already within you. You need to do the work. But it did just show me that anything's fucking possible. And guess what? If you do want a $16 million mansion, bitch, you better work. You see me do my da-da-da-da-da. Bitch, get to work, okay? Because, I mean, yeah, I guess you can be a trophy wife if that's your thing and you can do it, hun. Get on it and get on it early, because white cracks. They call us crackers for a reason. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but there it is. I mean, shit's cracking. I'm 33, you guys. It's almost my fucking birthday. Okay. Queen T gonna be 3-4. I'm leaving my Larry Bird year behind. I'm really upset because it was like, I created that last year, just about a year ago. My birthday's coming up on June 4th, people. Send in the love, send in the gifts. If you need my address, I will give it to you. So reach out to me. But yeah, it feels like this is how it always goes, but it feels like I just turned 33. And I remember being like, yeah, sick. I like that. You know, 2 3s. Told everybody I would do this all year and it would be my bird year, baby. 33. And I don't know. I did that like twice. Well, maybe 4 times now total. And that's it. Blink of an eye. I'll be fucking 34. But the good news is, and what I'm here to say and constantly remind myself of and instill in others, bitch, you're still young. I saw a little something on Instagram the other day that said, this 30-year-old's secret to looking young is being fucking young. And so I'm done with the fucking you're done and you're old and you're over with because you're 30, gonna be 4 now. Like, fuck that noise. You are as old as you feel. You can do anything. I am still young. One day I will, hopefully, if I am lucky, be old. One day I will be old, but I'm not old now. And if I already think that I'm old and bygone and too far gone, then I'm going to act like it. And I'm going to not do the things that I dream of doing with my life. And hell fucking no, is that going to be the route I'm taking? Let me tell you, motherfuckers, because if this life is going to be as long as I imagine it to be, I want to be living a good life, a happy life, I want to have the things that I want to have. I want organic food. I want to take nutritional supplements. I want my digestion fucking peaking. I want to be practicing yoga. I want to be drinking water. I want property by the water. Why? Because it will make my soul happy. So no, money may not bring happiness, but it does bring ease, and it certainly brings you experiences and things that will help make you happy. My boyfriend messes with me because he's like, why do we need a property on the water? And just, it's like simple pleasures. If I have the money to have a property on the water, that will make me happy every single day when I wake up and have my motherfucking tea and stare out to the trees and the water on the other side. Simple pleasures, things that will make me happy. Boom. Plus, when I'm so famous, you guys, it's going to be tough to sort of, have my privacy. And if I can't go to the park, I better have a park. You understand? You understand. So yeah, let's see. Anything else we want to talk about today? Quarantine has given me, a bit more time, as it has given a lot of people. I've used some of it constructively for sure. I was able to finish both Chelsea Handler and Jonathan Van Ness's books that I bought, sometime last year. And sort of, I have this thing where like, I'll get a book and I'll be so excited and so into it that I'll read almost the whole entire thing. But then I decide I want to savor it. So I like put it away and then don't pick it up for a really long time. And I was like, well, Tess, like, what good are these books if you don't actually finish them? And you can reread them at some other point if you decide to, but fucking finish them. Both just amazing, such incredible stories and things, messages that I needed to receive and have appreciated receiving, specifically, through Jonathan Van Ness's book, the way he speaks about HIV and AIDS and addiction and all of those things that I've been through with my family and my family members, and his ability to sort of destigmatize that and just further my love for him. And he poses this question at the beginning of the book about how, if I unveil my truth to you, will you still love me in the end? And I think it's really fucking beautiful, because I think that's probably the most powerful thing in life, is to feel fully seen, heard as you are for who you are, and to still be loved. And so his book was fucking incredible. And I absolutely recommend Jonathan Van Ness Over the Top to anyone, whether you are LGBTQ, just fucking any real human, because there is a lesson in it. It's amazing what people have been through in their life and what they overcome and conquer to get to where they are. And my God, look at him. He's known and beloved by all the world now for who he is. And it's fucking beautiful to watch. And he and I are similar in age. I think he might be born in 87, so we overlap for a little while. He just turned 33, I'll be 34. But what he is doing between learning, getting back into fucking gymnastics over the past couple of years and doing standing back tucks at 33, fucking incredible. His figure skating, extraordinary. He's picking up habits and hobbies, and so many of us, I feel like, stop picking up new hobbies because we're too old. And it's like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, it's like, yes, you fucking can, if you just take the time and dedicate yourself to them. And so he's been incredibly inspiring. We're both, former cheerleaders. Yes, Somerset Raiders. Captain 2004, bitch. And then, Chelsea Handler's book was fucking amazing. And she has really been resonating with me. Obviously, I've always known her and followed her a little bit. Not followed her, but saw her show, Chelsea Lately, back in the day when I was in college or after that. And I always sort of liked her, but admittedly, I wasn't just didn't follow. For a long time, I didn't see a lot of television and things. I was doing stuff. I don't know. I was being in my 20s. I didn't follow her closely. I knew that she was a cool chick. But the work that she's been doing on herself, for her book, and these different documentaries and things that she's put out, including but not limited to her podcast, which Life Will Be the Death of Me, which coincided with her book. It was just extraordinary to me. And I feel like we are just on the same wavelength and path of things that we're learning and discovering. And I appreciate, her book sort of tells the story of her eldest brother. She's the youngest. He's the oldest. His death when she was, I want to say 9 years old. He was 23, just graduated college. And he died, and the effect that had on her life and the work that she's done in therapy now to, move through that and come out on the other side and embrace and all of the different parts of her and all of the emotions as well. She also talks about the use of psychedelics as well as medical marijuana, and I am a big advocate of medical marijuana and all of its medicinal benefits. I think marijuana is amazing, and it's funny because I don't think I've talked about this much on the podcast yet, maybe. But yeah, I never smoked weed. I did not smoke or drink. I was Tess, who's naturally high on life. I was afraid of those things, especially because my parents were drug addicts and alcoholics. I just never wanted to do those things. People called me straight edge. I didn't identify as that, but I knew that I didn't want to do drugs or alcohol. I just felt like I wanted to keep my distance from that. And then of course, in college and everybody drinking and things, I made an informed decision. For about 2 years, I thought about having a drink before I actually had the drink. I thought, oh, if the perfect scenario arises, and I might have a drink. And it did. We were on spring break, me and a few of my girlfriends. I was 20 at the time, and we went down to go see Red Sox spring training in Fort Myers. And one of my girlfriend's mom lived in a surrounding town of that area. And we went out to Fort Myers Beach. And some guys ended up ripping their wristbands off of their wrists, and we stuck them on our wrists with gum to adhere them. And we just walked straight onto this beachfront bar, all white sand. It was freaking beautiful. And like I said, I'd been thinking about it for 2 years at that point. And when it happened, I thought, I'm on spring break with my girls. I've been considering this for some time now, and I think your girl's having a cocktail tonight. And I had always known, because I worked in a restaurant from when I was 14 years old, and I did takeout, and the bar was right behind me, and I would always stare at the Midori bottle, bright green, so beautiful. And the cocktails that they would make with it were the prettiest cocktails I'd ever seen. And I was like, when I have a cocktail, someday, whenever that day may come, I will have a Midori sour. Now, granted, for those of you who don't know or perhaps aren't familiar, or maybe you do know and you're already laughing at me, a Midori sour isn't really much of a cocktail. It's a liqueur and sour mix. So it's not really going to do much to you, but ooh, is it tasty. I recommend as an adult perhaps adding a little vodka and making it a nice Pearl Harbor, and then you're sort of going to get where you want to go a little bit faster. Not just all sugar and empty calories and barely any liquor. But anyways, I'm not really a drunk, I swear. I'm really not. But I do appreciate a good cocktail, and I'm a bartender. So I've made many, many a delicious, well-crafted cocktail. And that's where I really appreciate a cocktail. I don't need a drink just to get drunk, but God, do I love like a well-crafted martini. Yes, I do. So we walked onto the sand and I announced to my girlfriends, I was like, girls, I am having a cocktail tonight. And everyone got so excited that one of my girlfriends, of course, she was like, okay, I'm buying the round, because no one in college has money. You don't exactly want to buy your friends around. But when your friend of 3 years is telling you she's going to have her first drink after like thousands of college parties you've been to together and she's never had a drink, that's like a cause for celebration. And so I remember she offered to buy our round and we waited in line at this bar, and, you know, it was a beachside bar, amazing, packed to the brim. Now we're waiting in line. And I remember the bar was plastered in printed up signs that said, cash only, cash only, cash only, cash only, ATM upstairs, cash only. I mean, it was everywhere, clear as day. So while we're waiting in line, this dude comes up, starts like talking to us, telling us stories, whatever. Bartender finally comes up. My girlfriend orders 4 Midori sours for us, just, you know, to be like a team, like all together in this, whatever. We don't care. This is what Tess wants to finally drink for her first drink ever. We're drinking it. And the guy goes, oh no, I got this. Make it 5. We should have known right away, like, not to be, you know, not to judge, but what full-grown big man is ordering a Midori sour? Who knows anything about drinking? Probably not. Anyways, he ordered, and then when it came time to pay, he tries to hand the bartender his card. And we're all looking at him like, bro, the fucking wallpaper is a sign that says cash only. So my girlfriend's like, she's like, no, never mind. I got it. No worries. Ends up, of course, now buying 5 drinks, another fucking $10 thrown on top of it because this guy, and he's like, oh, let me go to the ATM. Yeah, I'm going to go to the ATM. Okay. He walks away. We all like sort of start drinking our drinks. I'm like, oh, that guy. And she's like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, I had to fucking buy his drink. I'm like, well, he says he's going to get cash. One of my girlfriends is like, yeah, he says he's here on spring training with the Red Sox. I'm like, wait a second. He told me he was here DJing Kanye West's party. Motherfucker done duped us for a free drink. So that was the first drink I ever had in my life. But yeah, so I knew for a while, 2 years before I had a drink, that I would have a drink when the time came. And I felt the same way about marijuana. And we will get into all my marijuana tales because they are freaking hilarious. There were several funny occasions in the beginning of me trying to smoke pot that didn't work out, but are comical anyway. But my point being is that I used to shun and have a negative attitude toward people who used marijuana. And my idea of that has completely changed. I think it has the ability to open you up to just the earth and your emotions and creativity and all of those things. And I'm fucking pumped for Chelsea Handler to be putting out her weed line, vape line, not vape, sorry. She's probably not going to do the vape anymore because I think the world has realized that vaping is pretty fucking shit. We're all going to get the popcorn lung. So maybe not vaping, but I watched her on one of Nikki Glazer's podcasts earlier in the year, actually. And Nikki was talking about her inability to, she's like, you know, I teeter on wanting to smoke weed, but telling people I'm sober. And Chelsea just like put her right in her place. And she was like, whoa. You can be sober and smoke marijuana. Marijuana is a medicine from the earth, which you deserve. It adds a sparkle. She talks about this sparkle, and it does. I think that knowing yourself is very important and knowing your dose is very important. But I also think that weed has that magical ability. If you know the strain that you're smoking, and that's the beauty of it becoming medical and more available to us, is that we're actually knowing what we're putting in our body rather than, you know, back in the day when we just bought it and thought, oh, I don't fucking know. And then some of it's really going to knock you on the ass. And then others is like, I'm fine. Just, you know. So I'm really pumped for her message that she's sharing with the world that weed is a medicine and a tool that can be used for good. She's talked about how all of her staff likes her a bit better with the weed. She, of course, is never giving up drinking, which I salute her for, but that she might be even a better person with weed. And I know that it has helped me in lots of ways, and I very much enjoy it myself. Let's see. I'm not sure how long I've been talking or how long I should continue talking. I don't actually know what time it is because I can't see my phone or the computer. So I think that I will probably finish up just by talking about let's see, anything else exciting going on? I am excited that I just created and hung a new 8-foot long shelf above my bed that my cats cannot get to, which has afforded me the ability to buy like 13 new plants or something, and I'm fucking pumped because plants are my favorite shit in the world. They make me so happy. They make me a little stressed too because I am a perfectionist and I want to know everything about them and like what the exact proper watering is and what the proper soil is and the drainage and what pot it wants to be in and what pot it doesn't want to be in, because pot's great, but the pot's got to be right. You know what I'm saying? You see, you understand. And so I've really been enjoying my plants. I'm very much looking forward to my birthday next week. I think I'm going to ask for a moisture probe. Ooh, maybe like a light meter reading. Ooh, look at me assessing my light levels, assessing my moisture level. Different moisture levels. Different moisture level. But yeah, if you've stuck around and listened for all this time, I really appreciate it. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself. Maybe you've learned something. Maybe you've laughed. Maybe you've not laughed. That's the thing. Like I've talked about before, I teeter on being, a person with serious fucking shit to talk about and being, the crazy comedian that I am. And I think that I have, if you're just here for the funnies, I have a lot more funny stuff to offer. And I've got stories to fucking tell you guys, like things you wouldn't believe. I forget about shit that I've done or been through in my life. And then occasionally I'm reminded of it. And I'm like, damn, man, I really have lived a fucking crazy, crazy life. So, I think maybe the next time I come on, I'll tell you guys a little bit about, when I moved to California and I shot a prank for True TV and we got picked up by Jay Leno and I was on an April Fool's episode of Jay Leno in, I want to say 2012. So if you guys can find that, go do your troll work and find that video because I can't find the footage from that Jay Leno clip and I want to find it. And yeah, I'm just putting vibes out into the atmosphere. I want to be on getting coffee in the car with Jerry Seinfeld one day. I want to host my own late night show. And I'm definitely gotta fucking host SNL at some point, or maybe I'll be a cast member. Melissa Villaseñor. Hola, mi amiga. Ella no habla español. She doesn't speak Spanish, even though her last name is Villaseñor. But I don't really speak Spanish either. I once did. I've got a lot of it in a fucking folder. Just got to tap into the folder and then I'm going to get it back out. And then I'm going to have a fucking bilingual podcast. So motherfuckers, watch out. Okay? Oh, ugh. Sorry. Team Nikki for life. Sorry, Cardi. I know I did, but that wasn't your noise. That was never your noise to begin with. I'm not going to throw more shade. I've thrown enough shade on Hispanic women. Just kidding. I fucking love you, J-Lo. Cardi, you crazy bitch. But I respect you for all that you did and you done. But Team Nick till the death of me. My queen. Gotta represent my queen, Okay, I think that's going to be all for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed the episode. It means a lot that you took the time to listen. And if you did, leave me a comment because it will help me to further believe in myself and remind myself that I should continue to make these motherfucking podcasts for you, even when it can be sometimes difficult to get somebody in for an interview. All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a kick-ass motherfucking week, and I will catch you for the next episode of the Tess Sullivan Show. Bye.